Hey guys, it's Jill and this video is going to be a July reading wrap-up and August TBR. I honestly think that July has been the best reading month so far this year in 2023. So I'll start out with the books that I read in July. The first one was A Court of Wings and Ruin. This book, it was so long and there were some parts where I was like, okay, like I need to get through this. But I ended up reading it 5 stars. It was so good. Obviously, I can't say too much without spoiling it because it's the 3rd book of the ACOTAR series, but this one was more on the political side of the story, I guess. And the ending, oh my gosh, I cried so much. I literally cried myself to sleep reading the ending of this one. It was just so good and it really got me. And then the next book that I read was wait, was this the next one? I'm pretty sure this was the next one that I read, but this is Flipped, and I said in a previous video that I've watched this movie numerous times and I really enjoyed it. And the book was pretty much the exact same as the movie with some minor details that were changed. This is about Julie, who's been obsessed with this boy named Bryce ever since she was like 5 years old, and Bryce moved in with his family across the street from her family. He never really reciprocated those feelings, but when they grew up, they're in like 8th grade when this is mainly what this is mainly about. They're in 8th grade, and she kind of comes to the realization that she might have been just infatuated with Bryce and he isn't as wonderful as she originally thought. But at the same time, Bryce is kind of thinking more about Julie and kind of starts to develop feelings for Julie. And this is a romance, but it also talked a lot about family and family dynamics, stuff like that, which I thought was done really well. And I rated this one 4 stars. The next book that I read was Love Theoretically, and I was so excited to read this one ever since it came out, which was a few months ago now. I think it was like April, May-ish that it came out. I also have a reading vlog of this book that I'll link in the description bar below if you're interested in watching. But this is a romance between Elsie and Jack, and Elsie is trying to get a new job and Jack is one of the interviewers for the position. She knows Jack though because she's actually a fake dating girlfriend, like people will hire her to be a fake date, and one of her clients is Jack's brother. So she's met Jack in the past, and in this there's kind of a battle between theoretical and experimental physicists, and Elsie and Jack are on the opposing sides of this. Elsie's more on the theoretical side while Jack is more on the experimental side, and because of this, when Elsie finds this out about Jack, she is not too fond of him. But of course this book is still a romance between the two. I thought that this book was cute, but I didn't like it as much as I liked The Love Hypothesis by Ali Hazelwood. However, I was still enjoying it while I was reading it, and I rated it 4 stars. And the next book I read was Fourth Wing, and I also have a reading vlog on this one that I'll link in the description bar as well. This one is about Violet, and she grew up thinking that she was going to have a job where she would be surrounded by books, be able to write about history, and she lives at this school where her mother is the general, and her mom forces her to go into dragon riding like her brother and sister did. And to become a dragon rider, there are numerous tests and challenges that the students must go through, but it's extremely dangerous and many of the students actually end up dying before they're able to graduate. And Violet also has a condition which puts her at a disadvantage in terms of her strength, so people really don't have much hope that she's going to be able to make it and survive this process. There was really so much going on in this book, in a good way though, and I was really never bored while I was reading it. There's also a slow burn romance, which I loved so much. Unfortunately, I didn't get that 5-star feeling while reading this, which I really wanted to, but I still rated it 4.5 stars. And the last book that I read this month is Borrow My Heart. This one is a YA cute little romance. This is about Ren, who one day was at a coffee shop and she notices this guy Asher is getting made fun of by his friend because I guess Asher was talking to this girl online and they were supposed to meet at this coffee shop, but he ended up getting stood up by her, and Ren felt really bad for him, so she ends up stepping in and pretending that she was the girl that he was talking to this whole time. And it says at the back here that she's fake dating, but I wouldn't necessarily say it was fake dating, but I would more so say it's the trope of one person knows the truth and the other doesn't, because she thinks that it's like fake on her side, but from his side it's like not really fake, if that makes sense. Anyways, they get to know each other and she realizes that she actually does like Asher, but she's worried because she's kind of been lying to him this whole time because she wasn't the original girl that he was talking to online. There was one scene in here that really gave me the ick. It was a restaurant scene where her family was ordering food and literally none of them said please after they ordered the food. I don't know why, that just really like icked me out. Anyways, that's such a minor thing, but I also wasn't a huge fan of the third act breakup in this, and it was largely based on TikTok, which I just don't really like reading about TikTok in general in books. I want to pretend when I'm reading that social media just like doesn't exist. But overall it was cute, and I rated this one 3 stars. Okay, now for my August TBR, and I realized that I already had a video talking about my July and August TBR. However, there are some more books that I've discovered that I want to read in August, and I'm done school finally and have it this month off, so I really hope to get a bunch of reading done this month. The first book I want to finish is A Court of Frost and Starlight. This is a novella. It is the 4th book of the series, and I am like 2/3 of the way in, and really not much has been happening. I'm not bored, but like I'm not super inclined to pick this up and read it. I've been reading it a little bit slowly, but I will probably finish it. Honestly, like I think I'll finish it today. But that is the first one I want to finish. And the next book that I want to read is A Court of Silver Flames. This is the last book out so far of the ACOTAR series, and I don't know really anything about this book other than it is a different perspective than the first few books. This also has different perspectives in it, but this one is like 2 separate people that we haven't really seen their perspective much. Another book I want to read is Things We Never Got Over. I remember this was pretty popular last summer. This is about Naomi, who is on the run from her wedding day, and she ends up going to this small town where her sister lives, who she hasn't really talked to her sister. They're like estranged, but her sister ends up taking her money and her car and leaving Naomi with her 11-year-old, which is pretty crazy. And then this guy named Knox, he is trying to help Naomi get out of this bad situation. So it's going to be a romance between those two. And my sister actually read this summer. She did not like it. She said that it was just so difficult to get through. And it's also a pretty long book. It's like 500-ish pages, and usually my sister and I have a pretty similar taste in books, so I don't have huge hopes for this one, but I'm still going to give it a chance. Another book I want to read, I don't have, but I want to read Powerless by Elsie Silver, and I know that this is a romance between a hockey player and a ballerina, and this is the 3rd book in the Chestnut Springs series, which I haven't read the 1st or 2nd one, but those two, the plot didn't seem as interesting as the 3rd one, so I might read the 3rd one, and if I like it, then I might pick up those ones at a later time. But this is a childhood friends to lovers / friends to lovers romance between the main characters Sloane and Jasper, and it says on the blurb that Sloane's kind of always had a thing for Jasper but never really pursued it. It also says on the back that he saves her from her wedding day, and I've heard amazing things about the Chestnut Springs series, so I'm interested to see if I like Elsie Silver's writing and her storytelling. The next book that I would like to read in August is called To Kill a Kingdom. I'll put a picture here, and this is a Little Mermaid inspired / retelling story, and it's about a princess named Lyra who is a siren, which is, I had to look it up, it's like an evil mermaid, and she kills one of her own kind, and as a punishment her mom makes her into a human and says you have to bring the heart of this prince named, what's his name? Prince Elian, who I'm assuming is a human, so she has to bring his heart to her mom, and if she doesn't, she's going to stay human forever, which is something she doesn't want to do. This prince though, he actually hunts for sirens, so when he initially meets her, he thinks that she's going to help him hunt for sirens, but little does he know that she is one. I thought it seemed like an interesting plot, and I'm excited to see how I like it and how it differs from the original Little Mermaid story. And the last book on my August TBR is called The Last Letter, and I've heard so many people talk about this on Bookstagram, and I'm not really on Book Talk, but it's been super popular lately, but I think it's going to be really sad. And based on the back, this is about a guy who sends a letter to his friend named Ryan, asking Ryan to take care of his little sister, or actually I don't know if she's little, but to take care of his sister named Ella, because she has 2 kids and is going to be by himself, because I think the guy who is writing the letter is in the military and ends up dying. And this is also a romance, so I'm assuming it's going to be a romance between Ella and Ryan. And I'm not too sure if I'm going to like the military part of this, because I feel like it is going to be really sad, but I'm willing to give it a try. So that's going to be all for this July reading wrap up and August TBR. Thanks so much for watching this video. I hope that you enjoyed it. If you've read any of these books mentioned, or if you just have any book recommendations for me, I would love to hear your thoughts in a comment down below. Also, don't forget to give this video a like and subscribe to my channel for more book content, and I will see you in a new video coming soon. Bye!